nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hamel.
Here.
Mr. Parati.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno is out. Mr. Facteau.
Here.
Mr. Randall.
Here. Okay, all board members have been provided with a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. The motion will be entertained to approve and accept the minutes of the July 17th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 17th, 2023, providing there are no additions or subtractions or corrections. Okay, a motion?
I'll move.
True.
Second.
Reg. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Mr. Parati.
Yes.
Mr. Facteau.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. We have no addressees tonight. I do have a few communications. Charter. This letter will serve as a notice that on air or around August 15th to 2023 Spectrum Northeast LLC. Spectrum will cease the alternative SEC network feed on the channel lineup serving your community. The slate message that programming is no longer available will be displayed on the channel for approximately 2 weeks. The primary feed of SEC network will remain available to customers. If you have any questions, naturally you can call Charter at 518-640-8475. And I have another Charter. Dear Municipal Officer, this letter serves as notice that on or around September 13th, 2023, Spectrum Northeast LLC Spectrum will launch carriage of Lifetime Movie Network, the LMN, in high definition and standard definition on SPP Select Channel 71 and 758 on the channel lineup serving your community. Again, any questions, same phone number, 518-640-8475. I got a communication from Friends of the North Country. We have the August update on the home improvement grants. They're still working on 13 work site up to scope or work. We have one of them actually going on and assessment completed one. And applications complete is now 4 out of the 13. So they're continuing to work on that and updating us as they should. I spoke with Friends of the North Country. I'm going to do a drop by there probably within the next week or two so that I can go over a couple of files because that has to be done per the grant administration. So I'll stop over and take care of that so we can check that box off. Okay, so I had this was a reach out. On behalf of the Town of Schuyler Falls, we would like to schedule a call with you, Supervisor Randall, town staff, and our team to discuss the next steps to complete and submit the work plan application for the project and to review the key components of the grant program with you. Please let us know what you prefer and your availability. We ended up doing that today. It went really well. This is on the congressional funding of $2,562,500. So this is at the federal level to get the ball rolling, to get the grant money to the town on that Morsel Water project. So that is in the works and moving along finally. It took them a while to get an administrative alphabet to administer that grant, but that has been completed and we'll be working on that. Saranac reached out to us as another town close to them, a neighboring town, to see if we would support, give them a letter of support. So basically, what they were asking for, I'll read a little bit of this. We at the Town of Schuyler Falls would like to show our support to the town of Saranac in their efforts and plans to move forward in seeking funding under New York State Consolidated Funding. We would like to support their goal of helping to provide a trail system starting at Lake Champlain and ending at High Falls Dam in the town of Saranac. The committed efforts of several towns such as the town of Plattsburgh, Schuyler Falls, and the city of Plattsburgh have already made significant progress in achieving spurs of the Saranac River Trail Greenway Trail system. We again welcome and support the efforts of the town of Saranac in helping bring this very worthwhile project closer to its completion. Thank you so much in advance for any and all help that you can provide to the town of Saranac. So that's a letter I gave them. Support. This is to help them with their spur of the Saranac Greenway Trail. Alright. Monthly reports. Everybody got a copy of the monthly reports. So if everybody is good with them, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
So move.
Reg,
Second.
Mike. Roll call?
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Facteau?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. All right, receipts. Tax collector, town clerk, $448. Mason Lane Water, $443.10. Morrisonville Water, $2,864.75. Woods Mills Water, $869.38. Justice Barber, $2,499. Justice Van Ortwick, $1,774. Cash receipts, $168,157.69. That's Casella for their second quarter. Host fees from the landfill. $27.60 in scrap metal. $115 for music in the park. Band for the Morsel Water District. $2,505,700. Music in the park, again, $96.25. Get a motion to accept the cash receipt. I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Facteau?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Alright, minutes of the planning board or the ZBA board, we had none. Department reports, Councilman.
Yeah. Kevin, regarding the Morrisonville Water District and the bond anticipation note, now, that came through at, what was that, 4.1%? Or,
0.5, I believe.
right, so it's kind of like a bridge loan on this whole project, correct?
Yeah,
sort of.
it's like your construction loan for a house.
Okay,
Kind of
okay.
that way.
Now, the interest, year one, the year one interest on it,
Right.
what was that amount?
About 73,000.
Okay. So that's for year one only, right?
Only
It's
for
only
year one.
year one. And then if we get into it more in year two, that would obviously be, would that be at 4.1% as well? Of course, we can't tell right now, I assume, right?
According to the bond specialist that we hired, Munstad, no, he said that he believes it'll stay, but nobody
Sure.
knows.
Sure.
His price stays the same, locked in contractually for the length of the project. That'll really take us to about April of next year, so it's just shy of a year. And then the Morsel Water project, you're looking at probably 2 years for the full completion of the
Yeah.
project. So what they do is they usually, or what towns usually do is renew that same ban when it comes due in April of next year. And
So-
we'll have to do it at least one more time, because you won't,
Okay.
there's no way we'll be done that project in that time.
Now, you had mentioned here a few months ago about having an informational meeting for the people in that district prior to our budget workshop. Is that still sort of being planned, or where the people in the Morrisonville Water District would be informed of this more?
Yeah, well, it'll go in the paper. The ban has to go in the paper for public review. So that'll be done on September 5th.
September 5th.
It goes in. So, yeah, they get a public review on it.
Okay. All right, and anyway, my other question, and I'll try to be brief on it,
Yeah.
would be on the Rixon Avenue project. And my question is, I have not seen a written agreement with those people yet. Is that agreement done? Because I did want to review it
Yeah.
if it is done.
Yeah, Mr. McCormick and I have had three back and forth on that one. We're just about there for that agreement. I got no problem showing to the board, and those people are the ones that are going to have to sign on to that agreement in order for that project to move forward.
Right. It's just that the people over there, there's just 4 of them. There's one of the 4 who wants nothing to do with it. In fact, health department officials went over there and the guy threw him off the property. And their contamination report on their well was the worst one of any of them.
Is that Macy?
On Rixon Avenue. So here we are going forth with this project. You've got one of the 4 who doesn't want anything. They don't want anything, yet we're set to spend ARPA money over there. And my question is, several of them cannot, one of them was in here one night, cannot afford being a mobile home. There's a separate setup for the entrance for a mobile home. It's expensive. You've got to put different apparatus in there to tie into the main. Well, my question is, who is going to pay for that? If they can't afford it, we're going to have an 8-inch water main down there. We're going to be spending ARPA money down there. Do they realize, and that's why I want to see something in writing, do they realize that they are going to be responsible for that connection?
They're real.
They're aware of it.
Everybody that I spoke to is aware of it out there.
That's about $3 grand right there.
Okay. No, that's not. For all intents and purposes, just like your question about capping the wells, I got that one answered for you too. That's from Brian Davies. It's not even an issue.
You want to go over the answer now or wait until your time
What's that?
to address that capping of wells?
Answering what you wanted me to answer. and-
Okay, what did you find out about the capping of wells? That's something else that's got to go in the agreement with those people.
According to Ryan Davies, there was no need to cap the wells on that project up there. And that's the health department. So, again, I don't know what to tell you other than that, verbal. I would like to get something in writing from him saying that that is going to be the case. I haven't even asked him that yet. Because the only thing I wanted to know was whether that was, it's recommended. You're right in that. And I told you that when I talked to you about it. It is recommended, but the problem up there is that the groundwater was already contaminated. So there's no need to worry about contamination of the ground from the well water that's already contaminated. So his words were, as long as they want to use it to wash their cars or water their flowers, or anything, their lawn, and there's no issue with that at all. And as far as the lateral, he said if there is enough, it's kind of like the same thing he said what happened in Viet Nam and had the salt contamination over there, along the same guidelines, that's where he compared it to. He goes, if their well line is long enough, once they take it out of the well, and they want to bring that out to the road shut off, the street shut off for the water, that they can use the line, so they won't be paying for new line. They still have to have it dug to put in the ground. And everything else is part of the project, so.
Kevin, with all respect for that, the town of Plattsburgh water is a little bit different. They require a different type connection to their main. And I mean, that water, we're gonna be buying it from the town of Plattsburgh. And they have certain criteria for connecting to it. So,
Well-
I believe it's like a type K copper, the new code on it. So-
And the town of Plattsburgh cannot tell us what to do with our water district. They do the operation and maintenance of it. They agree to sell us so many gallons of water that we utilize. But the engineering is approved by the county health department. Period. It's the health department that says whether the project is up to grade or not up to grade. And they've already approved it.
Okay, my final point on that, Kevin. We had talked about going from ad valorem rate to the EDU. And then all of a sudden, the discussion stopped. Are we proceeding in the Morrisonville Water District only? Are we proceeding with that idea at this point?
That's up to this board. Once this board determines what way they want to go.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Reggie, EDU would be the most affordable for everyone. Because ad valorem is going to change the rates substantially for some income holders. So again, don't quote me on it. My memory is pretty good, but it's not perfect. I think the break-even point was like 130,000, 136,000,
Right.
somewhere around there for where it didn't matter whether you went ad valorem or EDU. But
Right.
all I can tell you is that almost all new systems are going to EDU. And with the EDU system, you have the opportunity, more or less, of using like a standardized system of how much a school should be paying for water, or how much a business should be paying for water. But ultimately, it's totally up to the town board. And EDUs are allowed to be changed. So I know, what Champlain we talked to, if I remember right, wasn't it? And I think they changed the EDU rate about 3 times before they got it to where it worked for everybody. I should say worked for the town, and the bills were good and everything. So, I mean, there's a lot of flexibility with the EDUs. But again, that's a full board decision, not my decision, on what way you want to go with that. I'll give you my opinion, but that's all it is, my opinion.
Okay, and just getting back to those 4 homes. Because if we get hit with an EDU, they're gonna be hit. Because they're on the lower assessment value. So those people over there, I've looked at the list, and they're gonna end up paying, and I just wanna forewarn them. That's all. That's all I wanna do, is
Yeah, well,
let them know if this goes, all these charges, it's gonna be tough on them.
Well, if they want to become part of the district, they're gonna get operation and maintenance charges, because by New York State law, they have to get it if they're in the district. I can't not charge somebody for water that's in the district, okay? The biggest landholder up there spent an hour and a half down here with me. I explained that to her. I explained that if we did it by EDUs, that her vacant lots will be a half a EDU, because if there's nothing on it, that's the standard, is a half a EDU. So she was good with it, so.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I know she's the owner of that highway repair shop, truck repair shop, or whatever it is. Now, that's gonna have to be set up over there with a different connection to water. They're gonna have to have like a backflow preventer in there, installed in that system for what they do over there.
That's something for the engineers to figure out. I'm not sure if they are required a backflow system or a backflow preventer. There are certain entities that do have to have a backflow.
Howard, would you know? I know you're up on that a little bit.
I believe they would.
They would? So see, that's an expensive situation that they should know all this up front. That's my only point for that. They should know. That's all, Kevin. That's all I
We've
have.
covered this a million times, they're gonna know, or they're not gonna sign the document, because they're gonna have a full understanding of what's
Okay,
going on.
all I ask is to be able to review the document. That's all I want.
Well,
One's
you're on
get-
the town board, so
Okay.
there's no issue with you reviewing it,
Okay.
because we're gonna be the ones sending it up there.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing else?
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, thanks for the questions. Mike?
Yo. Well, we've been out cutting some brush and trimming up around trees and guardrails and stuff. We're just about done mowing the roadsides. Been doing some paving. We have a little bit more to do. A lot of repair intersections that we gotta do up because they're really shot now, you know. We're just been looking for, waiting for a better year next year to get some more new equipment.
We just got you new equipment.
Well, that was this year. We got next year. And that pickup is getting really rotted out there. I mean, it's drivable. Check engine light just come on yesterday on it. I haven't had a chance to have anybody check it out. But there's something weird going on with either the gas flow or the transmission, so I don't know yet.
Yeah, get it checked, and give me a quote.
Yeah.
Find out what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
The check engine light is on.
Yeah, I closed-in trailer that we talked about with Mr. Donor there months and months ago. We were talking about maybe a new one. I mean, hey, I'm still willing to go for that one from him compared to a new one.
Yeah, it's a nightmare on our side, but,
Oh, yeah.
that's why I was telling you, let's figure out what you have left in your large equipment fund. See what you got at the end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, everything is-
Trailer, but,
Everything's getting wore out there, though, and that brush hog and mowing roadsides, been around a long time. It's getting a lot of wear holes in it, you know, which is really bad. And the gearbox, we've welded up a lot of things inside of it over the years. You know, it's been around a long time, it gets well used, you know, so. I just have to,
yeah. And those things, like I said to you earlier, we should be putting aside so much a year to replace them, so that you know what you got up there and what needs to be replaced, so come up with like a, you know, if it's a truck, a 15-year plan of how much you think, you know,
yeah.
or the next truck that's coming up, you know, what the next one you think is gonna go bad, or in this case, a tractor, and you get it, figure out what else you need and when you need it by, and then it's easier to budget for if we can put so much away a year, and not have to,
Yeah.
buy it at the end, and have it cash paid for like we did the front end loader. You still got some money in your unallocated fund reserve. So, like I said, let's see where we are at the end of the year and see what we can do for you.
Yeah. I still gotta have an auction up there, cause we still got those other older trucks up there to get rid of and a bunch of older tires and rims and stuff like that, but I'm just.
Is there anything that
Just-
would even sell, you think, or do you want us to just surplus it?
It'll,
I mean, we gotta surplus it one way or the other legally, but.
yeah. All that stuff's all pretty well wore out too, you know? But
Yeah.
have to do the best we can, there's no sense of it hanging around here much longer, you know, but.
You know, and you got the control all taken care of?
Yeah,
I see.
the joystick's in on that new loader. It's working real well, but there's some kind of, the technician that come in is gonna come back. He's gonna talk with a bunch of other technicians on it, because there's a couple adjustments that he just can't get right.
Okay.
You know?
Could I just ask one thing?
Yeah.
Mike, a shoulder machine, where does that end up being in your priority? Is that ranking pretty high?
Oh my God, I'm gonna be honest, we need a lot. But yeah, I wanna do the shoulders. I mean, we have the equipment now,
The
I mean,
loader.
it'd be crazy
that's
not
the
to
new one, huh?
get that first,
Right.
you know?
That's the one you said about 89,000, right?
Yeah, they're 111 now, at least.
That's,
I'm waiting to see what happens, and I'll call again and get another quote, you know?
We'll know what your budget is before the end of the year, and we'll try to get it in front of it before the increases for next year. Because I know they're all gonna go up,
Yeah,
probably about 6 to 7% again
yeah,
next
at
year.
least,
So, let's see where we are. We'll be working on the next year's budget through September.
Yeah.
So we're almost there. And you're kinda gonna have a good idea of what you got left up there and what you need. And then, bring us a wish list and see what we can do.
yeah. Another thing that Mike, we had talked, remember last year there with, Josh Ware, about doing the other back part of that parking lot? I assume that was still in the books?
We still got the quote on that.
Yeah. I guess I haven't talked to him, you know, I know he's busy, but I didn't know.
I wish some of the local contractors would have bid on that floor project up there when we put it out. We didn't get anything. Again.
It's a big project.
It is and it's not. It's not that big a project, but I don't know. A lot of work out there, and that's half the problem.
Yeah.
A lot of money out there, so. You got anything else, Mikey?
No, not at this time.
Anything on the water?
Just with you.
Yeah, I'll cover some more of that. Coach?
Still trudging along, doing some permits and violations and remedies.
I appreciate all your hard work on that. I did notice he's getting some stuff cleaned up.
do you have a cell phone yet? Howard?
You haven't bought anything.
Yeah, I'm bringing that back to this work session. We do not have 5. I have 4 confirmed right now, so we'll see where the board wants to go with that. But might get added in
I was just
David
gonna,
Amel for his water department. I wanted to see if we go for
Yeah.
that. That would bring us a total of 4.
I call him quite a bit.
The
Yeah.
last estimate I had that Denise had worked on me was for 5, so she's reworking that, the 4, and I don't know whether that's gonna affect the multi or not, the multi price.
It's Dave.
Town clerk,
No.
assessor, I got nothing from the assessor. Planning board, dog control, brings us to our attorney. Nothing. Alright. Ms. Doherty?
I left some of the pictures out in the other hallway from, that I pulled out of my office. They're the Mr. Ben's then and now pictures that are kind of interesting. And we also have all the proclamations that the people in the legislature, et cetera, brought to us at the 175th, so that's still out there. Plus in the entryway, there's some things, when I picked up some more historical passports for arts and history in Clinton County, she gave me some lip balm that's in a thing that looks like a green golf ball, and some other brochures there from the Chamber of Commerce, so they're all available if anybody's interested to walk through that way at some point. And that's it.
Okay. Alright, so, Morsel Water Project. So as you were aware, as of the last meeting, the 1A and the 1B have been completed. The, Plaza Norvoff, it's FONSI-NOIRROF is what they are now completing and finishing up. Part of that, to finish that is the band. So we did get the band out for bid. We had 3 bids on it. We did take the lowest bid. It was like right around 4.5%. The band is for $2.5 million. It's actually a hair over $2.5 million. And that has been finalized. The band money, as you'll see in the cash receipts this month, the exact total of that for the Marshall Water Department band was $2,505,700. That was the total band. So that's like, they call it a band, it's a bond. And basically that's a construction loan. And that'll take us through April of 2024, like I said. Other than working on the closure of the grant process to go out to bid. Last time I spoke to Ron, he's LaBerge. He is on track to put that project out to bid this fall. So that way we can get going on it first thing in the spring. The MOU is just about done with the county, and that's kind of like a separate issue, but that's the Sand Road water project to take care of the PFOAs and PFOSs up there. I got the MOU back from him, and we're going through it right now just to make sure that the language is, we're down to one article, and it's highlighted in yellow there. So everything else was concrete anyways. So as soon as we go over that, I should be able to sign the MOU, and that will kind of solidify, we'll still need a contract, but that'll solidify that project. That'll put water up with the interconnector all the way to Woods Mills. As part of that, they're gonna take care of from the bridge down here on 22B to the Sand Road, which is gonna take about $1 million, give or take, out of the Marshall Water project. So, like I said, that MOU should be signed shortly on that. Just for an update on that Sand Road project and a little bit on the Morrisonville, because it's going to deduct some of the monies that we would have had to spend. Macy Lane water
Hey,
project.
Kevin,
Yeah.
what about the right of way? How's that going?
Alright, so Mike just got back in town, and unfortunately our timing was really poor, because I got the agreement through with the rocks, I should say. Just about the same time you were going on vacation. So Mr. McCormick has that. As soon as he can write up the description, he's got a preliminary that I sent him on the agreement. And as soon as he writes that up, we should be pretty well good to go on that. And I contacted OU on what we had discussed and what they wanted up there. So taking that thing out of the middle of the field is going to save a ton of issues later on, and it's going to save money in the project. So I want to thank them for allowing us to get that. So all we got to do is get it in writing and have them sign it now. And that also will allow me to complete the prior to bid folder that's about that thick. Because we had about 28 different questions that they need answered in there. Some of them were multiple in that among themselves, but one of them was, or 2 of them was for our town attorney to say we had all the right-of-ways and certificates of right-of-way. And we need to get that right-of-way agreement in place before he could sign that. The other one I think we took care of today. It's kind of off the topic, but Noah from Unistat helped us to talk to an auditor so that we can make sure the band, when we take money, the band in, and when we take money out of the band, that it's calculated, not calculated right, that it's spreadsheeted right. so that everything's, you know, shows where each came in and each came out. So, I asked him if he would give us a contract of services, because we lost our auditor last year. She retired for the town. And that is another piece of paperwork. Everything's tied together. But that's another piece of paper that I need for the prior to bid for USDARD, is we have to have our auditor sign that they are our auditor for the town. That it's just not, you know, Mary and Donna and I handling the money, that is externally audited each year. So that's kind of like 2 or 3 birds with one stone. And he's willing to take on the town as a client. He was pretty impressed with Mary when I was listening to the conversation today. He goes, sometimes I get a little nervous with because they have no idea what I'm talking about when I try to explain things to them. And he goes, she's got a really good handle on what she does. She just wants me to overlook the work to make sure, you know, everything's good. Because she's definitely, you know, not an auditor. But anyways, I'm hoping to have that contract. He said he couldn't get to it today for me, and we got off the phone with him today. He, like I said, he helped Mary today for loan. He didn't charge. And he spent 2 hours with her today just getting everything set up so that we can start using the van. And real nice guy. So we need an auditor for the town. We gotta have it anyways because we get audited annually by the comptroller's office. So we need to have somebody to do the end audit. We need it for the grants and gonna need it for the Morsel Water project. So that worked out well. Now we got that. I better go too far again. All right, Macy Lane Water Project. The bid for material and work to be performed on that project went back out to bid, as you know. August 17th of 2023, 2 bids were received at the town hall office. They were received by the town's clerk. The bids were more than were expected, and we will have to contemplate what direction to move forward. We're researching now to the 2 bidders, are reaching out to them to see why those bids were more than what we had on our cost analysis. There's a couple directions that we can head with this, and I want to work on this at our next work session. Probably the best way to move forward with the Macy Lane project is to break it into phase 1, phase 2. That way we're not making them bite off more money than they need to, and it'll keep the cost out. The phase 1 part of that project can be totally paid for on this side of things. And then just to give you a heads up, we're looking at, after talking to Jerome and Ron, who happened to be here when the bids were open, completing the loop in the back. That P, that's now a P, will become a full loop, which will allow water to be pulled from both directions rather than having to go all the way around the left-hand side and then be deadheaded or deadheaded at the other end. So that it's going to, in itself, make quite a bit of difference to the back loop. But we really would like to get, as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to get that middle section of 4-inch changed over to 8-inch as soon as it's feasible to do so financially. But that's the nut and the bolts of that. I can give you here. You would think the numbers are right in the front, but they're not. They're in the middle. Alright, so one of the bids we got was Ed Garrow's. If I want to make sure I use the right one here. So if we went with the ductile iron, their bid came in at $697,500, which is twice to almost 2/3 what?
Three times more.
Almost. Because we could have handled it right up to about 300,000, but the 30,000 that you guys are putting in, but that's not even close. That doubles that number that we could probably handle. If it went with the ductile, with the high pressure PVC, then that bid was still from Garrow, so it's $679,500, which is a lot more than what it should have been, or that we thought it was going to be. Luck Brothers is the other one that we got. Alright, so Luck Brothers for the ductile iron pipe, they came in at $460,000. Alright. And then for the high pressure PVC, it was $440,000. Alright. But you're looking at, $240,000 difference between two bids on a fairly small project, so it just is not adding up to me. That's a lot. I could see if they were 20,000-30,000 off maybe, but not almost $250,000 difference. So, needless to say, these two bids will be denied, okay? We are reaching out to them to find out why did they bid what they bid, so we can wrap our mind around if they think there's a particular issue down there that we're not aware of, that they may be aware of, that boosted these up that way. But I will tell you just from, and I don't really have to tell you, you guys can look at the news and see what's going around for money and what's going on for projects. And right now there's a ton of money out there at the federal and state level. And a lot of it has to be spent, like especially the ARPA funds has to be spent by 2026, has to be allocated by 24, and they're not hurting for work. You know what I mean? They're not hurting for work. So the bids are coming in high because there's a lot of work out there and there's a lot of money to pay them to do it. Like I said, we're gonna look at probably the best thing that I could think of, but it'll be a full board decision, is to split that up into two phases and at least get that back phase done and get it looped. But that'll be up to the councilman to discuss at a work session. I'm sure you guys are all up to power on that.
Since you're discussing that, do you want to do a motion to reject the bids?
Sure.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Parati,
Second.
Mr. Hamel.
Okay, Mr. Hamel,
Yes.
Mr. Parati,
Yes.
Mr. Facteau?
Yeah, just discussion on that. Sorry. It's just that, looking at the records over there, the people over there on the front side, now with their water use and everything, they're paying like about $125 a month, roughly. I mean, close in there. Now, the bigger homes on the back side, they're paying around $150 a month, including their metered rate. It's pretty, it's close in there. I just can't see where they, at this point, could afford much more on water. So that's why I'm going with a vote of no on this.
And that's why we recommended not to do the bids, Reggie. I mean, we understand that they are the highest district,
Yeah.
water district
Yeah.
in the town of Schuyler Falls right now. I'm not
Yeah.
looking to make them cause any more pain to get water,
No,
trying to help them. And
course.
there's a couple other options that I'm gonna look at too, but until I get my numbers, I won't bring them back to them. But ultimately, it's something that we will need them to put some input in before we move forward. There's a couple other options that we can do other than, I mean, the most blatant outright would be to do the back. That doesn't cost them anything. We can cover that with the ARPA money that we set aside for this project. So it wouldn't increase anything. But there's a couple other options that I want to float around at a work session, but I need to get my figures and facts straight before I let them know what it is. But there's always options.
So you're saying no to the project? You're rejecting the bids too?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Sorry, I wasn't that.
Not the project, just the bids.
The bids,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Randall?
Yes.
Sorry,
Oh, I just want to make sure.
yeah.
You're looking at $110,000 difference that you would have to pay for yourselves right now. And I'm sure that you're not looking to do that. You know what I mean? That's what the shortfall is, when we add up our plan, the 30,000 that we had allocated. And like I said, I was willing to go up to about 300. But, I gotta have some questions answered on why they're $250,000 apart in the estimates.
That's,
There's
In
an
the-
issue.
just, I don't know if I can ask her right now, in that thing you got from the two of them, I'm sure they break it down. That 200,000's gotta be easy to see in the breakout between the comparison.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, what I get, okay, when you look at the bids itself, is what they have to do. And they both bid on exactly the same materials and the same job, all right? So maybe, once we talk to them, and that's what we're gonna ask, did one go with directional drilling to put all the laterals in over there and back in? Because that's another thing that we can look at, and I'm kind of getting off the subject here, and I don't want to make this go any longer than I have to, but what we did was, originally in the engineering, we put the water line on the opposite side of the road is what it currently is, okay? So that means that every lateral would be reversed, right? You see what I'm saying? So they have to retap each one of them, even the ones that will be on the right side of the road after the water line goes in. They were on the opposite, so they still have to cut those and tie them into the system. Normally, from what I understand, I'm not the contractor or the engineer, but from what I'm told, normally they do that because the operating system that's there currently needs to operate without fail while they're putting the new water line in, okay? So that they're nowhere near it and have the capability to break it 15 times as they're trying to put the new one in. They normally stay right away from it. But that was one of the things I hit Ron on pretty hard. I was like, that added quite a bit to the cost of the project because you're reconnecting everybody, first of all. I mean, don't get me wrong, they'd have been reconnected, but the laterals one that had to be rerun across the road if we would have ran it on the same side. So one of the things that I wanted back from the engineering is where the water line is, the existing one is, and how much right of way we have to stay away from it and maybe keep it on the same side, which would cut some of the cost of this down. Like I said, this isn't a give up, this is a step punch backwards, but I'm still working on it for you. And there's a couple different options that we can do. But yeah, as far as the bid sheets, they just go give you the numbers and say that they'll abide by, all the contractual agreements. It's not really a breakdown like that. They have it because they bid it, so they have to have that. So that's what we're asking for. And we want to know why they're so much different, which will help us to help you. All right. The 175th anniversary celebration went very well, and I would like to thank everyone that helped to make the event a huge success. I'll tell you that my right-hand people were my historian, our historian. I abused the heck out of her. Mindy jumped in on the committee and was tireless on it. Howard had a lot of play in that. I worked on it naturally. The councilmen for helping where they could. Mike helped get the pets and the wagon rides and like a Casella. I can't say enough about Casella because they jumped in with both feet and really made this thing what it was. Huge amount of donation from Casella. I'd like to thank Ryan's Masonry for helping out with the fireworks too. The fireworks were amazing. I heard people yelling and screaming that night. They were like, "These are better than the city of Plattsburgh." So that's something that we'll discuss as a board. I know that I heard it a lot that day. That it's really nice to see a parade and a field day back in the town of Schuyler Falls, and maybe we'll do it as big because it's not 175th. But I think that it would be very nice if we could in August work on picking a field day and a parade each year to keep that tradition going because people really enjoy it. That's all I can tell you. So again, if I'm missing anybody, or grand marshals, or the whole works, I know I'm missing people. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I want to just thank everybody. Yeah, they really went and outdid themselves on it, and I happened to be at the helm, but I didn't do it alone. I'll tell you that. So thank you very much. The weekend of August 18th through the 20th was Schuyler Falls Townwide Garage Sales. This event seems to continue to be a big hit as in years past. We plan to continue to sponsor the townwide event. Again, there was discussion of holding the weekend field day and parade that same time as the townwide garage sales, but I think that it would be a nightmare for people to get through. Unless everybody respected and we started early, the only way I could see we could do it is we started the parade at 11 and got it done by noon, and then that would give everybody the rest of the day to do whatever with the yard sales. But we get a ton. When I was going through last weekend through town, there were cars all over the place, yard sales all over the place. So personally, I think they're better separate, but it was a topic of discussion whether we should do it that same weekend. I would suggest